Final score: Wrexham nil, Maidenhead United 1, and that's a blow. It really is. I mean, it was deeply, deeply frustrating, but oh no. Maidenhead have lost the last 8 games, and that's what makes it massively frustrating, of course, because this is a game that Wrexham would have earmarked as a clear chance to win. But Maidenhead, to be fair, in a few of their games this season, have gained praise for the way they've actually gone about things, and they played well today. To be fair, they didn't sit deep. They didn't try to park the bus. They were quite determined, especially later on, to really try and keep as high a line as they could and not get dropped into the area. And they broke well, and Wrexham was slow to start in each half and made a careless mistake, which was punished. It's got to be said, for the first hour I just felt edgy because we weren't making chances. In the last half hour we did make chances, but we didn't take them. So Wrexham changed things around a bit, although to be fair, some of the changes, well, the one change was out of necessity. Anthony Jeffrey, of course, went off injured on Saturday. Elliot Durrell replaced him on Saturday and replaced him today, and Paul Rutherford dropped out. Jordan Ponticelli playing. It looked on paper like it might be a 4-4-2, but actually, for the first hour of the game, it was a 4-3. Well, for the first half, should I say, it was a 4-3-3, with Jordan Davis sitting deep in the midfield and Ponticelli playing on the right, Durrell on the left, Thomas through the middle. Didn't really settle well, because in Maidenhead, he played a disciplined 4-1-4-1, but committed men forwards caused us issues. Having said that, around the 16th minute was one of the most memorable sort of 90-odd seconds of play I've ever seen by a Wrexham player. Jordan Davis, absolutely incredible. He, in that space, got 2 shots off, played some good passes, and at one point, when the shot was blocked and there was a breakaway, he went on a superb sprint back into his own half, slid in and won the ball back. All that led in the end to Hall Johnson nutmegging his man, cutting in from the right, getting to the D. He'd run out of options, went down and got a free kick, almost in the same spot Luke Young scored against Boreham Wood from. And on this occasion, Young again ripped a fabulous strike which hit the bar and flew into the cop. And you sort of thought, after a bright start by Maidenhead, right, now we're going to impose ourselves. But it didn't work out that way. We put pressure on them, we had a lot of the ball, but we weren't making chances. The quality of our crosses wasn't great. The quality of our balls forwards wasn't that great either. There was a sort of sense sometimes of hurriedness, trying to play killer balls rather than be patient, a sense that they wanted to get the ball up to Thomas to use his height, but the problem was that Manny Parry, brought back into the team, having been dropped on Saturday, was absolutely outstanding at centre-back. He picked up Thomas and he dominated him in the air. And actually on the break, it was Maidenhead who looked more dangerous. Firstly, when Clerima broke down the right-hand side and pulled the ball out to the edge of the area, his intended target didn't reach it, but it carried through 25 yards out, where Donnellan hit an absolute rocket of a shot from 25 yards. Luckily for Wrexham, it was straight at Leighton, who parried it really well, and we got away with it. But we didn't get away with it in the 34th minute. Davis was lighting the game up at that point. He's a lovely player to watch. Great technique. But then he had an unpleasant moment, 34th minute, maybe a bit too confident, deep in his own half. He was careless, lost the ball, and Maidenhead punished us for it. Barrett burst down the right-hand side, swept it across, and Nathan Blissett, the big target man, on the edge of the 6-yard box, did well to stoop to a low ball and head it past a completely exposed Leighton. It was a shock to the system, and Wrexham responded well, making a chance straight away. Thomas flicking the ball on, Durrell working the ball inside to Ponticelli, who was one-on-one with the keeper from a tight angle on the right-hand side, drove it across the goalie, but just wide of the far post. However, immediately after that, there was threat at the other end. It was upwards, dinking the ball on. Coley, a lovely touch and turn to spin his man. Leighton had to be very quick off the line to grab it from him. But it was harum scarum stuff. Within a minute, Wrexham were building a nice move, putting pressure on Harris, lashing a shot over the bar from 25 yards. And then Young, who was full of industry throughout, trying to play a through ball to put Ponticelli one-on-one with the keeper. A good interception. And another good interception near the end of the half. Thomas doing well for once to beat Parry and get round the back of him into the box. He pulled it back. Durrell looked set for a simple tap in, but Wells on the edge 6-yard box at full stretch made a superb interception. And it should have been 2-0 at the break. In the first minute of added time, a corner from the left, and Parry, who'd been impeccable at the back, coming forwards, had a free header 6 yards out and somehow contrived to plant it wide of the right post. He really should have added to his defensive work with a goal. The second half started badly for Wrexham as well. The first 10 minutes just didn't get going. Mostly it was Maidenhead who were looking quite neat going forwards. But then Wrexham started to spark. Durrell with a fabulous run down the left-hand side, beating 3 men and then dinking it into Kwame Thomas, completely unmarked in the box. But the keeper did well to come off his line quickly and rush Thomas into a decision, and the cross was maybe a little under hit. Thomas decided he'd try to go for it with his head and made a hash of it. It was a very difficult header to pull off. He's about 15 yards out and he put it a long way wide. He was diving almost away from goal to make it. A couple of moments later, and we nearly gifted Maidenhead a goal. Vasallo, apart from that, was excellent. Fed the ball back to Laneton, a horrible 50-50. The keeper did brilliantly to be so quick off his line, and then to win the crunching 50-50 with the massive Donnellan. In fact, Donnellan tried to carry on, but after 2 spells of treatment, had to go off. It was a heck of a good piece of work by Laneton. And then Wrexham pushed on. One more chance before they decided to change things up. Young chipping the ball beautifully over the defence. Ponticelli one-on-one with the keeper, surely had to score, and he placed his header just wide of the left post. Massive frustration for Wrexham. The chances starting to stack up. They made a change. They played the second half of the 4-4-2. Davis cutting in from the right, Durrell on the left, and Ponticelli through the middle now, and it was the right thing to do as Ponticelli was getting to good goal-scoring positions. They now made a change. Thomas's frustrating game was ended. Yusuf replaced him, and Paul Rutherford came on for Jay Harris. Perhaps a little surprising, but Wrexham now were able to put Davis into the middle, Yusuf up front with Ponticelli, and Rutherford on the right, and they continued to make chances. A corner came out to Durrell, who smashed the shot back in. Keeper did really well as it came through a crowd to hold it low down to his left. Then it was Yusuf who did well in his 25 minutes, holding the ball up, feeding it into the 6-yard box where Ponticelli got 2 shots. The first one blocked by a defender, could have gone anywhere. It span loose and Ponticelli managed to hit a snapshot again, which hit the keeper on his line. Don't think he knew much about it either. Still, the pressure came. Young, I beg your pardon, Young driving a ball in from 30 yards out, which was well parried as it dipped nastily in front of the keeper before a controversial moment 10 minutes from the end. I'm still at the ground, so I haven't seen any replays. There's some things I want to see replays of from the last 10 minutes. Firstly, Yusuf doing really well again down the left channel, feeding it onto Ponticelli, who finished superbly, lashing it into the roof of the net. I wondered if it was offside, but I felt it wasn't. Maidenhead appealed loudly. The linesman stood looking across with his flag down. And then after a while, almost like a cricket umpire convinced by the appeal, stuck his flag up. I really want to see if he was offside or not, I've got to say. We made a final change with Dan Jarvis coming on for Elliot Durrell for the last 3 minutes, and then had more controversial moments. Firstly, again, Yusuf in that left channel, backing in, then helping it on intelligently to Rutherford, who couldn't keep the ball in. He was clearly had his arm pulled. How hard the pull was, I don't know. Would Rutherford have got the decision if he'd gone down rather than be honest? I don't know. One of those that maybe would have been a bit soft, but then sometimes people give away soft penalties. Then in the first minute, it was 6 added minutes. Young with a free kick, dinked into the box. Wells attacked it, got it wrong, and it skimmed off his head and went just wide of the right post. Massey, the Maidenhead skipper, scored an almost identical own goal on Saturday against Hartlepool. From that corner, it was swung in. Kelleher won the header, looked to be going in, and then took a deflection wide. Wrexham now apoplectic, claiming it was a handball and a penalty. Referee not interested. And when the ball was swept into a crowded 6-yard box again, it span out to Jordan Davis. Close range but a very tight angle. He couldn't get on top of his volley, and he sent it over the bar. And time ran out on Wrexham, and they'd suffered a humiliating defeat, in all honesty. I want to be positive. I like being positive. And you could argue this is a game where we made a lot of chances, and on another day, and this is true, we could have won that. I even think if Ponticelli's 80th minute goal had not been disallowed, I think with the momentum we might have pushed on. We had a spell in the middle of the second half with terrific momentum, which was stopped, unfortunately, because there was a clash of heads between Hall Johnson and Tumasi, and the ref rightly stopped play. But that took a lot of the sting out of us. We had real momentum at that point in the game. So, yeah, the bottom line is you play a team who've lost 8 in a row and a bottom in the league at home. you got to put them away. So this is a very, very a bad day. Having said that, I mean, okay, you look at the performances. There weren't too many bad ones, really. The issue is that we made a mistake, which was punished, and we couldn't take the opportunities we created. Leighton was good in goal, insofar as he had that much to do. Um, the defence were pretty solid. Callagher and Vassell, as ever, looked like a good combination. Hull Johnson and Record got forwards extremely well. They did very well going forwards, I thought, especially again Hull Johnson. In midfield, I mean, Harris, I think, was only subbed for tactical reasons. He seemed very busy. He's just played 2 games in 3 days as well, of course. Young was Neil, who commentated with me, his man of the match, and I agree. Young was absolutely everywhere. He was creative, he was aggressive, he had a shot to hit the bar, he did just about everything. Durrell had some excellent moments. It was just frustrating that none of them led to a goal, really. And Davis, at times, looked out at this world for this level. He is a quality player. But he made that horrible, horrible, horrible mistake. And it's hard to turn away from that, really. So that's what cost us the game. He's a young lad who is learning the game. And he made a couple of little poor mistakes occasionally, but his quality shines through. In the long term, he'll be a terrific player for us. And up front, well, Ponticelli was quite lively on the right-hand side, but was better through the middle. Looked dangerous, took his goal well, missed an easy header, though. Thomas had a frustrating game. He battled hard, but Parry was outstanding marking him. And then when the subs came on, Rutherford was very busy, buzzing around, trying to get involved. A few times got into decent positions, but then lacked support. Yusuf did very well. He loves backing into centre backs, and looking at that, you think when Ponticelli and Yusuf are fully fit, this sort of game would have a different outcome. You suspected he did look very good, pinning centre backs and troubling them. Jarvis got on a bit at the end, did some nice passes actually, but no time to impress. So you look through the team and you think, yeah, the performances weren't at all bad. Maidenhead were well organised as well and did do well. But bottom line, bad defeat. Oh well. On to Saturday. With a final score of Wrexham 0, Maidenhead United 1. Maidenhead's first win at the racecourse. I'm Mark Griffiths from the Wrexham AFC media team.